What up, you nerds? Bungie just released a beefy TWID from the PvP strike team going over pretty big changes coming on March 5th. Today, I'll be sharing my live reading of the TWID and thoughts on everything. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a stupid goddamn hat, it's because I hit a level 5 hype train earlier on Twitch, which means I have to wear a dumb train conductor hat, and now you understand. Don't ask about the hat. Thanks. Okay, here we go. This week in Destiny, February 22nd, 2024. This week in Destiny, we've got PvP on our minds. You all seem to enjoy our extensive sandbox update last week, so we thought we'd offer another in-depth update. Hopefully you have your reading glasses ready, because we have a lot to share. Okay, great. We got the PvP strike team, accessibility and console UI updates, prophecy dungeon weapon update, Normandy crew winners. PvP strike team update, here we go. Hey folks, it's the PvP Strike Team here. Today we'd like to share our thoughts on the current state of PvP, our philosophy, and the changes we have planned. We believe Destiny's PvP gameplay provides players with a unique experience that can stand on its own, but it needs a clear vision alongside ongoing iteration. For some time, the Crucible hasn't felt like it's had that. This has made it difficult for us to attract players to Crucible, leading to a slow bleed of our PvP population over the last couple of years, as veterans move on and are not replaced by fresh players. True. Returning to our core mission, we want to refocus on rewarding the players who love the Crucible, as well as push to provide a baseline variety of experiences to ensure there is always something appealing for PvP enjoyers. Since the PvP strike team was formed, the bulk of our work has been focused on finding solutions for 5 major issues: Crucible maps, rewards, game modes, sandbox issues, and matchmaking. Okay. Crucible maps. Boy, oh boy. Due to its dynamic nature, PvP can create content on its own, and every match can tell a story. But our players have spent millions of Guardian hours on our current selection of maps, playing the same game modes in the same arenas. True. It feels as though most of these stories have already been told, and there is only so much you can do in the same play spaces. That is pretty accurate. Additionally, different modes require different kinds of maps to succeed, and our limited map selection means we have often pushed modes onto maps where they are not necessarily optimal, resulting in a subpar player experience. Our current crop of maps has not been updated in some time in terms of spawns, ammo, zones, and this is exacerbating the issues we continue to add as we continue to add newer modes to old maps. An example would be maps made for Rift being used for Clash and Control, like Disjunction, the Citadel, Convergence, and Cathedral of Dusk. To help with this, we've made some substantial quality of life passes on our existing maps, okay? Already live, initial map spawning quality of life pass, addressed spawn traps for Altar of Flame, Cauldron, Endless Veil, Midtown, and Meltdown. Update 7.3.5 on March 5th. Additional map spawning quality of life pass. Addressing spawn traps for Eternity and Fortress, okay. Removing all backfield spawns for non-Rift modes, the Citadel, Cathedral of Dust, Disjunction. Oh, removing all backfield spawns. Okay. That would help a little bit, not spawning at the back of the map on Disjunction, and okay. This will effectively make these maps play 30 to 50% smaller than they do currently and reduce the amount of time spent running back to combat after spawning. Okay, that's not bad. Major tuning of the initial spawning, heavy ammo crate, and tiebreaker zone locations for all maps, huge. A lot of those spawns are really, really bad. We are also making changes to our workflows that will allow us to update the above variables more easily. In the future, we'll be able to more quickly address issues with map imbalance and spawning. For example, the next time Dead Cliffs returns for trials, it will have changes made to the spawns, zones, and heavy ammo placement to make it more balanced. Yay. Crucible-focused players may also be left behind in terms of locations, or feel left behind, as they get less exposure to the awesome new destinations that come with our releases. For example, Europa and Neomuna have exciting palettes that our PvP-focused players rarely get to experience. In May, we're releasing new maps, oh boy, that explore these locations. While these maps will be available in Control, they have been specifically built with a focus on 3v3 game modes in mind, including Dominion, Clash, Survival, and our newest mode, Collision. May update, adding 3 new maps to the Crucible. Eventide Labs, Europa map, Cirrus Plaza, Neomuna, Dissonance, terraformed pyramid ship. But before we go any further, do you want good meals at home but you're busy as hell? Just do what I did and check out Factor. They're the sponsor of today's video, so let's thank them real quick. It is 2024 and straight up, Anno and I still use Factor at home, about 2 years now, give or take. If you're unfamiliar, Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, ready-made meals right to your doorstep every week, as many or as few as you want. Content creation can be a real grind, which is why I'm happy knowing 2 nights out of my week, I don't have to put any thought at all into dinner. Meals come together in minutes, and they even offer options like keto, low-calorie, vegan, or vegetarian options. Hella convenient and no mess. Just pop it right in the oven for a few minutes and you're good to go. And also, the meals are healthy, designed by dietitians to ensure each meal is packed with premium, science-backed nutritional quality. This isn't part of the ad read, by the way. My favorite 3 dishes from Factor, in order: garlic mushroom chicken thighs, any dish with shrimp, and new contender turkey chili. Trust me on that one, by the way. I know people get all weird on chili that doesn't have beef in it, but believe me, it goes hard. Use my link in the video description or go to go.factor75.com and use promo code Fallout50 to get 50% off your first box. Thank you, Factor. We want Crucible to feel at least as rewarding as PvE, with post-game drops on par with strike activities in terms of rewarding materials and activity-specific loot. We also want PvP players to have more consistent methods of being rewarded with build crafting materials. This has led us to make the following changes, which are currently available in-game. General, already live, increased end-of-match rewards, including more glimmer and higher chances for enhancement cores, and Crucible engrams. Created double reward boosters for PvP. Nice. Competitive, already live. Added weapon focusing, sure. Added a second tier to the competitive weekly challenge that awards Ascendant alloys. We're also looking to improve our endgame rewards. While some players may choose to play only a few competitive games per week, we'd like to reward players who continue to remain active. In competitive, we'll be offering 2 major incentives for continued success throughout the week. Artifice armor in competitive Crucible. The first reward for the first time in Destiny PvP is the addition of Artifice armor in competitive Crucible. Ayo! This high stat armor will be obtainable as a reward from a new 3rd tier on the competitive division weekly challenge. Okay. After completion of the weekly challenge, Artifice armor will continue to have a chance to drop on further victories. These Artifice pieces are giving the Year 1 Crucible gear a new lease on life. It's a weird way to say it. The following will have a chance to drop as Artifice armor from competitive Crucible. Gotcha. Okay, so here's the name of all the stuff. I like the idea, chat, of Artifice armor from competitive. That's good. That is good. I give that a thumbs up for a change. I actually played a whole bunch of comp a week or 2 ago. I enjoyed it. Twitch chat seems to actually be liking that change. I'm with y'all. I'm with you. As this armor will drop from competitive Crucible, we will keep dungeon Artifice armor drops to the dungeons they are associated with. The inclusion of Artifice armor as a reward aligns with our goal of allowing PvP-focused players to have an endgame track that rivals PvE rewards. Smart. Another key change we're adding in update 7.3.5 is the increased drop chance for exotic weapon catalysts on victories. Okay. Like Artifice armor, this offers a meaningful way to upgrade a Guardian's power while rewarding continued competitive success. Update 7.3.5, adding a 3rd tier to the competitive weekly challenge with a new reward of Artifice armor. This tier will be unlocked for all players who reach rank gold 3 or above each season. This tier will require match victories instead of completions. Okay. Upon completion of the challenge, each victory thereafter will have a chance. Do we know what the chance is? To drop Artifice armor, and the drop rates will increase alongside your rank. Okay. All right, I like that. Competitive matches will also have an increased drop chance, a chance to drop exotic weapon catalysts on victories. Not bad. In trials, so here we go. We want to strike a better balance between the effort versus reward equation for going flawless, while also increasing reward options for players who cannot go flawless. To that end, we recently added flawless card rewards with update 7.3.5. We'll update the passage of ferocity and add a new passage of persistence. Okay. Interesting. You have my attention. Trials, already live, added 50% chance to get a Trials weapon on wins. With update 7.3.5, this will be updated to exclusively drop the weekly weapon reward to better allow for targeted farming of the specific weapon you want. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, added flawed card rewards. Update 7.3.5. We're making the following changes to Trials passages. For Passage of Ferocity, if you have not been flawless for the week, losses after 3 wins will reset you back to 3 wins instead of flawing your card. Interesting. Okay. That's not bad, but I feel like I would still rather take the Mercy. But that's just me. Okay, moving on. With the new Passage of Persistence, losses following a win will remove the win from your card. Consecutive losses do not remove additional wins. Losses following a win will remove the win from your card. Okay. Getting to 7 wins grants you a drop of the weekly Adept weapon, regardless of how many losses you have taken. Oh, that is interesting. This passage works like a trailing backstop. Once you have at least 1 win recorded on the passage, a loss will remove the most recent win instead of flawing it. Since consecutive losses will not remove additional wins, winning 2 games in a row adds a permanent win to the card and win streaks longer than 2 additional permanent wins. You can only go flawless on this passage if you do not have a win removed. Okay, that was my next question. Once a win has been removed, you can no longer get flawless with the passage, but you can still earn a roll of the weekly Adept weapon. Interesting. Okay, so my question immediately got answered because I was thinking, well, wow, that sounds OP. You can go to the lighthouse no matter how many L's you take, but it's not that way. So that's 1 drop of the, if you just want the weekly Adept weapon and you don't want to go flawless or to the lighthouse, that would absolutely be the card for you. That's a pretty new PvP player friendly card right there, but you can't go flawless if you have a win removed. Okay, I think that makes sense. I think a lot of people are going to complain about this card. I mean, like the PvP elites maybe. You know what my bottom line is? I really don't give a shit anymore. If it gets more people to play Trials, I no longer give a fuck at all. I just want people to play Trials. If it is better for the overall population, I'm all for it. I don't give a shit. Like, you want to get the weekly Adept weapon? Good. Grind it out. Give it your best effort. Get those wins. You know, it might take you a while, but that's probably why they call it persistence. And yeah, I think this is a dub. I have to think about this more, but my initial reaction is good for the player population. So I like it. I like it. I would have to think if there's any downsides. I wonder if Trial Sherpas will complain. No, probably not, because you still can't go to the lighthouse with that card if you get a win removed. It doesn't matter. I think that's a good idea. We're also adding rewards for match completions by 3-person fire teams in Trials. That's a good idea. Although you do not need to win to earn these rewards, they are participation gated. So simply jumping off the map, Jesus Christ, or sitting AFK in spawn will disqualify you from getting them. Additional 50% chance to drop the non-Adept Trials weekly weapon reward. A 50% chance to get a Trials engram drop. Additional Trials reputation. Okay, good change. Not gonna lie to you, Bungie. Still not enough to get me to go into 3v3 Trials because that is for crazy people now. Super crazy people. But yeah, for those who roll in as 3s, maybe they'll be happy about that. Sure. The goal of these changes is to encourage players to team up with friends, with losses being less of a punishment. Players can have more fun, and be well rewarded while doing so. Game modes. Okay. What do we got? Right now, competitive modes are not at the bar of quality to best promote an exhibition of skill and mastery between teams. We recently updated the Countdown Rush rule set in comp, and are introducing a new King of the Hill mode called Collision to Crucible Labs in update 7.3.5. Dude, I love King of the Hill. The goal is to replace Countdown Rush in the comp playlist after testing. Okay. We also feel like our quick play modes are lagging in updates. Yeah. Even though new modes are being made, they have been either a party mode like Relic or limited time modes like Iron Banner Fortress, Eruption, and Tribute. Outside of those, players have had the same options for too long. Agree. We want to make new core modes available to the standardized playlist and private matches. We also want to experiment with interesting twists on Destiny PvP that still retain the core feeling of our gameplay without being limited time events. Cool. Already live. Created Sparrow control. Added 3v3 Clash to Crucible Labs. Updated the Countdown Rush rule set for competitive. Update 7.3.5. 3v3 Clash will be moving to the 3v3 quick play rotator, and we'll be making these updates to the rules. Heavy ammo will no longer be shared. Okay, I'm down. Respawn timer increasing from 5 to 7 seconds. Match timer increasing to 10 minutes, but the score to win remains 40. Okay. Yeah, tell me about this. New 3v3 King of the Hill mode Collision will enter Crucible Lab. Finally. More Crucible Lab stuff. A single larger zone will rotate between 5 points around the map on a timer. Capturing and controlling it will earn your team points. Okay. This mode will also test an alternative special ammo crate system. Ammo crate system? Like D1? Chat, am I reading this right? The special ammo crate system will feature 4 shareable special ammo crates that spawn simultaneously at the beginning of the game or round and then on a timer. Each control zone location, A, B, and C, will have an associated special ammo crate, and the 4th crate will be in a neutral location. Players who currently have special ammo will drop special ammo bricks on death. It is our goal to polish and refine both new special ammo acquisition systems, ammo meter, and ammo crates. They can be utilized along with the respawn ammo system, and we can pick the ammo acquisition system that works best for each mode. I like that. That's good, because now we have multiple special ammo systems. We have current mode, we have checkmate, and now we're back to fucking D1. We went all the way around the world to go back to D1. Jesus Christ. Iron Banner Tribute has undergone multiple changes, oh thank God, including simplifying objectives and scoring, including changing the trigger for the hunt from depositing max crest to a team score threshold, removing the wall hacks on players carrying max crests, thank God, cleaning up the user experience by decreasing the distance at which crest icons can be seen. We're also reworking how quickly the beacons despawn and rotate, and significantly decreasing the time it takes to interact to dunk crests, reducing the number of turrets that spawn with the hunt from 4 to 3. Those all sound good. I'd have to play it though. Iron Banner Tribute, I don't know about you either watching live on Twitch or listening later on YouTube, but not a fan. Not a fan of the Tribute. Okay, update 7.3.6. In the future, Checkmate will be back in Crucible Labs, returning in a form closer to its original iteration. 30% penalty on ability cooldowns. Okay. No starting special ammo. Melee damage will not be increased, so it will take 3 base melees to kill. I don't know how I feel about that. Primary weapon optimal time to kill will be shifted to allow for a more tactical sandbox in line with the original goal of Checkmate as a modifier. Bungie keeps going back and forth on Checkmate, although I do like the idea of getting closer to the original iteration. A new modifier, hardware, will be tested in labs. It's no abilities, only weapons. Really? Really? You know, I don't know if that'll be as fun as a lot of players think. I like the significant penalty, the ability cooldown penalty. I'll try it out though. I'll try out hardware. That sounds interesting. Like raw gun skill. Man, Stompies are gonna run that fucking lobby. Stompies, transversive, that shit is gonna run. Okay, okay, great. The final shape. Private matches will have more options for players to set per mode. Modifiers such as Mayhem or Scorched will be options in any game mode. Play custom matches with your clanmates and friends or leverage Fireteam Finder. Oh boy. We have also added more custom tuning for existing game modes, so you'll have a better control over things like special ammo delivery, ability cooldown, reviving, respawning, and more. Great. Sandbox issues, oh boy. Addressing problems from the skill curve. For a longer explanation of the sandbox changes we're making, please see last week's TWID, but here's a short recap. As the average skill of our players has crept up over the years, the weapon sandbox has not grown alongside it. This has led to a compression of the skill gap at high levels of play, along with making it very difficult for new players to find their footing in a game where many veteran players have nearly mastered the existing playstyle. Again, this was all covered last week. As we've increased the strength and prevalence of certain sandbox elements, too often the defeated player in PvP can't understand what killed them or why. We don't want players in situations where it's difficult to learn what to do better next time. We also want to provide more encouragement for players to master their primary gun skills, things like high body shot damage, generous assist on precious weapons, substantial flinch dealt with primary weapons, and low critical hit requirements for optimal or near optimal time to kill all currently contribute to the feeling that putting in time and effort to improve your skill with primary weapons is oftentimes not worth it. At higher levels, hitting optimal time to kill is not an expression of mastery of the weapon and is instead merely an expectation. Meanwhile, at the lower levels, players can still die quickly to a relatively inaccurate opponent. These problems at their core are all related to a series of linked issues. We have the certain ability builds with either high uptime or higher potency than we believe is healthy. We've provided a near constant availability of special ammo, true, which means there is always a surplus of one-shot kill weapons on the field. We have made primary weapons highly lethal, fast killing, and in general also very forgiving. This all leads to a high percentage of deaths in our sandbox where, from the target's perspective, it feels like there was nothing they could have done differently. Many of the above are reflected through powerful sandbox elements that either have high rewards without appropriately punish suboptimal play to offset the risk. Example, bow and sniper aim assist or submachine gun and hand cannon body shot damage, true. Or they overstep rewarding the user and extend it to punishing the target. Explosive payload, hand cannon flinch, or wish ender, true sight. God, do I hate the wish ender. Update 7.3.5. The Crucible sandbox is getting a significant shakeup to increase battlefield readability and understanding. We're also adjusting the weapon sandbox to encourage primary weapon mastery and reduce the prevalence, good SAT word there, of high reward, low risk weapon playstyle. The following changes. Okay, here we go. Again, if you missed out on last week. Base HP going up by 30. We've got grenade melee and class ability cooldowns going up by 15%, melee damage increasing by 16%, super cooldown increasing by 20%, super damage increasing by 31%. Primary weapon balance, bow damage going down by 15%. All other primary weapon critical hit damage increasing by 10 to 14%, depending on the archetype, to maintain the same optimal time to kill as the current sandbox. Decreasing hand cannon and submachine gun body shot damage by 5 and 3%. Special ammo after initial spawn will be earned through kills or the completion of objectives. The goal is not to force players to utilize the double primary playstyle, but to encourage smart and measured special ammo usage. Increasing the damage of short and mid-range special ammo weapons like shotguns, trace rifles, fusion rifles, and glaive projectiles by 28%, limiting the uptime of Wish Ender's True Sight ability, reducing sniper rifle aim assist, reducing the flinch dealt to players by hand cannons, slowing down the activation speed of target lock on SMGs only, reducing threaded spectre uptime in PvP, these are all thumbs up, reducing threadling damage to players, and threadlings will be easier to destroy, reducing fighting lion and devil's ruin beam damage versus players. This is a long TWID. Final shape. We are working on changes to reduce the dominance of Ward of Dawn and Well of Radiance. We also want to improve the viability of supers with longer recharge times in objective game modes. I would love for them to reduce the dominance of those two supers in PvP because they are so goddamn annoying in trials and all that garbage. We'll have more to share on this as we get closer to the release of the final shape. Sounds good. After the final shape, we are also exploring UI updates to the obituary screen that would show combination of players that killed you rather than just who dealt the final blow. Hey y'all, me from the future. At this point in the TWID, Bungie goes into why matchmaking is not receiving significant changes. There's a lot of number talk and data and explaining why things are the way they are. If you want to read that, I encourage you to hit up the TWID on your own, but it's very long. I'm going to skip it here because I fell asleep reading it. And again, TLDR, no significant changes there. Lobby balancing. We understand that lobby balancing is currently a pain point. Yes. Some complaints about matchmaking can be more accurately attributed to lobby balancing, as it can make games feel unfair for one or both teams when players are improperly sorted. Because lobby balancing can have such an outsized effect on how games feel, it is very important to us that we make sure we get it right before we fully move on to a new system. The original lobby balancer simply tried to make the average overall skill of both teams as close as possible, and while it might not seem like it, there are several things that could cause lobby balance to deteriorate to an even lower quality. As such, we are still testing and gathering data, but we will share details with you as soon as possible, okay? Changes already live. Replaced the loose skill-based matchmaking in Iron Banner and Control with the new outlier protection matchmaking system. Updated competitive matchmaking to be rank-based in update 7.3.5. We will also cap the win and loss min-max values to make them less variable, which should make point rewards more predictable. Currently, testing several different configurations of a new Snake Draft Lobby Balancer. Update on March 5th, we will be updating our playlist tooltips to correctly display which matchmaking style is used for each mode. We have several changes planned for our ongoing experimentation with Snake Draft Lobby Balancing aimed at improving how it handles fire teams. As you can see, we have a lot of changes coming to PvP over the next few months, including a few changes planned for the final shape and beyond. We'll have more details about those updates as we get closer to their release. As always, we appreciate all the feedback we receive, and we'll continue to monitor discussion around these changes as we iterate and update to reach our goals. Accessibility and console UI updates. To continue to prioritize accessibility and improve the console experience, we have a few long overdue quality of life UI changes that are being introduced into 7.3.5. Added the reticle location setting to console, center, or below center. Players can change the location of the reticle regardless of their platform in the gameplay settings menu. When a PC player changes their reticle location setting, it does not change their reticle location setting on console and vice versa. Added controller dead zone settings. Interesting for you controller folk out there. With the ability to adjust the dead zone value, players can dial in a movement setting that feels just right for their playstyle for a more enjoyable play session. Players can change their radial and axial controller dead zone values from the controller settings menu. Added the ability to adjust the opacity of the radar background. Prophecy dungeon weapon update. AO? In update 7.3.5, we'll be updating the weapon pool in the Prophecy dungeon. Oh, hell yeah. This will include swapping out 3 weapons and making some key updates to the other existing weapons. Removing Swift Verdict Sidearm, Long Walk Sniper, Last Breath Auto Rifle. New Origin trait. All the new and updated weapons below will also be given this new Origin trait. Crossing over. These weapons have increased range and handling for the top half of the mag, while rounds from the bottom half of the mag deal increased damage. Okay, I kind of like that Origin trait. I feel like I would use that. Adding, these weapons will be receiving all new perk pools and in some cases new damage types. Prosecutor Auto Rifle. Primary Precision Frame Arc Origin trait crossing over. Adjudicator SMG. Okay. Primary Precision Frame Kinetic crossing over. Ooh, I really like the Relentless Pulse Rifle. I'd love to get a new version of that that doesn't have full auto on it because now it's intrinsic in the game. Primary High Impact Frame. Damn, okay. Damage changed from Kinetic to Strand. Origin trait crossing over. I think I'm confusing Relentless with the... Oh, I'm confusing that with the Darkest before. But I think Relentless also had full auto when pulled from collections. Hard to keep all these weapons in my head. This was a good one. I used this in comp for when I had to roll with sunset weapons, and I actually felt it worked really well. Updated. These weapons will be receiving new perk pools and new damage types. Judgment Hand Cannon, primary, adaptive. Damage changed from kinetic to stasis. Okay. Origin trait crossing over. Hey, there we go. Darkest Before, primary, rapid fire. Damage changed from arc to solar. Origin trait crossing over. A sudden death shotgun. Not a bad shotgun. Special ag frame changed from arc to void. Boo, I liked it as arc thanks to elemental capacitor. Origin trait crossing over. Updated encounter drops. Phalanx Echo. Relentless Pulse Rifle. Prosecutor Auto Rifle. The Cube. Sudden Death Shotgun. Adjudicator SMG. Kel Echo Encounter. Judgment, and Darkest Before. Got it. And those are the changes. Aside from the matchmaking manifesto, I think these changes are going to be interesting. Looking forward to the majority of them for sure, especially the new trials passage to get more people into the game type. Let me know how you feel down in the comment section. I'll be reading as always. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.